Have you ever felt a strong pull towards something? I have. Since I was very young, I have felt that relationships hold some kind of magical key. I've been fascinated with them since I can remember. It eventually became clear to me that having a heart connection was part of my unique light that I am here on this planet to share with the world. And so I'm creating this podcast to explore transforming our relationships and to create a more connected, empathic, and honestly kind world for the future generations. So, in this short preface, I want to tell you a little bit about my intention for creating this podcast, but also to introduce you to me as your guide. In our increasingly connected world, we face a paradoxical epidemic of loneliness and isolation. The statistics paint a stark picture of this crisis. 1 in 3 adults report feeling lonely each week. Loneliness and isolation significantly increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and dementia. The situation seems particularly dire to me among the younger generation, college students, high school students, the teenagers in our world, with 40% of them reporting severe yet high functioning depression, and 43% of them experiencing social isolation, which is higher globally than it ever has been among that group. 62% of them report living with overwhelming anxiety. It's statistics like these that spark my inspiration to address this epidemic. I have a child myself, and it is important to me as a mother, but also just as a human being who wants to see a successful future for our world and the humans in it. I yearn to influence a shift in our human experience that will impact generations who follow. Despite these numbers that I share, there is hope in human connection, I think. Healthy relationships can offer tangible health benefits. There's a comprehensive study that involved over 300,000 participants, which found that individuals with strong social connections had 50% higher likelihood of survival over time. Regardless of age and sex or health status, robust social networks have been linked to increased pain tolerance and reduced inflammation. Maybe it's due to the elevated endorphin levels from social interactions. In any case, these findings underscore the critical importance of fostering meaningful connections in our lives, not just for emotional well being, but for our physical well being and longevity. So that's why I'm here. That's why I started Relational Life Foundation. It's a nonprofit whose mission is focused on building stronger, more connected communities through providing accessible therapeutic and educational opportunities using Terry Reel's relational life therapy modality. If you haven't heard of RLT before, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I find this model to be extremely accessible to the couples that I work with. And I've heard from many, many other practitioners that they feel the same way, that it not only impacts the couples and individuals that they serve, but that they are also incredibly moved and their lives are touched by the work itself. I've actually never seen another therapeutic modality produce such quick and lasting change. And it's really growing in popularity. And I want the world to have access to the tools that RLT offers. So, Relational Life Foundation is a critical response to this national loneliness epidemic. This podcast itself is literally an extension of its offerings. This work is not just about individual healing, but about creating a more connected, understanding world. where meaningful relationships can actually flourish. It's about equipping people like you with tools and strategies for respectful, compassionate interactions to help build a bridge across cultural and generational divides. Supporting humans in having meaningful connection and satisfying, sustainable relationships is my favorite thing in the world to do. I'm absolutely lit up by this work from the inside out. Throughout my life, I've discovered great joy in being a member who belongs to a particular group, partnership, team. There's an incomparable, unique sweetness that I've experienced. Have you felt this? Sweetness to being a member who belongs? Personally, I've thrived on it in so many forms. To be honest, it's been my life force. I find it incredibly nourishing. I'll tell you a little bit about my background just to introduce myself. I was born and raised in New York City. I was immersed in performing arts throughout my youth. I came in contact with this sweetness of belonging while dancing in a company, while singing in choirs, directing and designing for the stage. But I cannot speak of the sweetness without also acknowledging that relationships can cause us pain as human beings. It's the shadow side of connection. It's actually why I left a career in the theater arts and pursued a graduate degree in group dynamics and interpersonal work, studying interconnectedness through Buddhism, through living systems theory, and different facilitation techniques. Throughout all of my work, I make use of tools that bring us closer to our gratitude, to our radiance as human beings, to our gentleness, and to our passion. So, in addition to running a nonprofit, I'll tell you I'm also a certified relational life therapy practitioner. I facilitate communities and businesses in accelerating the value of their bonds and maximizing their collective impact. I also design and officiate wedding ceremonies to celebrate all kinds of love and weave webs of community around those who are getting married. I adore this work. I'm a certified teacher of Matrix Works group leadership, and I'm currently in training at the Gestalt Institute of the Rockies, which has been a complete joy. Have you heard of the concept of allurement? I learned of it from Brian Swim, who studies the evolutionary dynamics of the universe. This philosophical framework of allurement suggests that, just like gravity, we are each drawn to our true passions and purposes. Allurement is the natural force that guides us towards what we're meant to do with our lives. It's unique to each individual, and it leads to a more meaningful existence. And so here I am with you exploring facets of connection because it's what I am most allured by in my life. And that has led me here. I come to the table with a belief that it is our duty to bring our unique light to the world. So, on each episode of this podcast, you'll hear me ask our guests about their allurement and what they believe their unique gift is. It's a concept that I will likely return to again and again throughout these interviews, because the journey of allurement and following our allurement is deeply intertwined with relationships, both with yourself and with all others. And this is where I link in relational life therapy, RLT. It focuses on developing emotional intelligence and self awareness. It focuses on exploring the interaction of self esteem and boundaries, healing from past traumas that affect current relationships, and most fascinating of all to me is RLT focuses on addressing power imbalances in relationship. There's a big piece about power dynamics, which we will explore together over time. So, a primary tenet of RLT is remembering that all human beings have equivalent self worth, no more or no less than anyone else. And while I'll share my own experiences within this series, I want to be sure that it's clear that I'm not positioning myself as expert. I'm a host of conversations, and I will be a co traveler with lived experience to reference on my own journey of curiosity and celebration of all the facets of human connection. I am a cisgendered white female in a heteronormative marriage. And despite my commitment to education and awareness and advocacy, I will come to this table with all the blind spots that someone in my position holds. This means that I will inevitably make mistakes here. And when I do mess up or offend someone, I welcome this community to reach out with feedback, to trust that I can hold both you and myself in warm regard as I hear your feedback. And in turn, I trust that you will hold me with warm regard, despite my human imperfections. I have come to believe that healthy, respectful relationships are central to every single thing that we are striving toward as human beings. And so I'm inviting people who inspire me into conversation about how ecosystems of relationship play a vital role in our collective well being. Together, we'll explore why and how respectful relationships can transform our quality of life and how they're essential to being human. I invite you to connect with us through social media, through our website, join our mailing list, reach out with questions and ideas for topics. Thank you for tuning in to this first episode of Facets of Connection. I am thrilled to embark on this journey with you.